It's now time to look at some of the philosophical arguments used against the historicity of the resurrection of Jesus. Not surprisingly, they all pretty much turn on the theme that miracles don't happen. But how powerful or relevant is this critique? The argument you see here alludes to the dictum of the astronomer Carl Sagan, but it doesn't come from any handbook or rule of evidence. It's actually just a restatement of arguments originally formulated by the 18th century philosopher David Hume, who made experience, his own experience in the main, the baseline by which whether an event was extraordinary was to be judged. Hume expressed this premise by saying that causes and effects are discoverable not by reason but by experience. Thus he said he couldn't believe in the resurrection of Christ, having not seen it himself. Of course, the question arises, what of the fact that the apostles did see the resurrected Jesus? Hume took care of this in a way that verged on the insulting. It's also revealing that even when Hume offers a hypothetical situation where his conditions are met, he would still refuse to believe that a miracle occurred. He offered a situation in which the Queen had supposedly died and come back to life, and he admitted he would be surprised, but should not have the least inclination to believe so miraculous an event. He said he would still reply that the knavery and folly of men are such common phenomena that he would rather believe that there was a conspiracy than a miracle. And note that this is in spite of what he had said earlier, that he needed people who were educated and had good sense to testify before he could believe that a miracle occurred. Now he says that even when he has that, men of his own stature and education in service to the Queen, he would simply argue that on this particular occasion, they were obviously not using their good sense and education. Hume's flaws in this regard were the subject of a scathing critique by the philosopher of science John Earman, titled Hume's Abject Failure. Earman is not a Christian, but he says he wrote his book as a reaction to the pretentious sneering he perceived in Hume. His principal objection to Hume was much the same as my own. Hume's refusal to admit to the bar any evidence at all for a miracle, his effort to make extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, make his thesis non-disprovable, and so epistemically worthless. If indeed Jesus was resurrected, how could we, by Hume's strict criteria, ever come to believe in it? By Hume's reckoning, only if each individual on earth saw Jesus rise from the dead could they each rightly believe that it happened. And even then, Hume might find a way to blame folly and knavery. I think Earman's summary is telling in this regard. In the final analysis, Hume remains an inadequate voice on behalf of demands for extraordinary evidence. Next up, we'll address a related claim, that Christians are hypocrites when it comes to accepting miracle claims in other contexts. See you then.